Pep Guardiola recently made some comments about Liverpool after they went top of the table following Arsenal and Man City's 0-0 draw. So this game really was a bit underwhelming, especially from the scoreline perspective, because Man City and Arsenal are teams that score a lot of goals, and they are expected to score a lot of goals when they go into a game. So this was meant to be one of those really kind of anticipated top of the table clashes, and to be honest, for it to be a 0-0 draw, I can see why people would be a bit disappointed, but this sometimes happens with teams that are this good. They literally just cancel each other out and not too much really happens. So getting back to Pep, he made some comments after the draw with Arsenal saying that Liverpool are now the title favourites, which for me I do find very, very interesting. So going into what he said, yes, who is first is favourites, second is Arsenal, and we are third. So I find it interesting where he says who is first, basically not actually saying Liverpool, but he's literally implying that Liverpool are the favourites because they are the team who are in first. And I do also find it interesting that Man City are the champions, and he's also still saying that Liverpool are the favourites. He also goes, it's not in our hands, because after their draw with Arsenal, I'm pretty sure Man City, Arsenal and Liverpool have all played each other. So now it's another team kind of needs to do something for the top three to change now. He also goes, all we can do is think of Aston Villa, who Man City ended up beating 4-1 yesterday. So yeah, that is a bit of an odd comment, but he also then goes, if you are top of the league like we've been before, you are favourites. Literally now saying that Liverpool are the favourites, but without actually mentioning Liverpool, which is quite an interesting tactic, because I'm quite surprised he didn't kind of directly mention Liverpool. But yeah, so going on to Arteta, he was asked if the draw was good for Arsenal's title hopes. He then just goes, I don't know. You want to win the game. If you cannot win the game, you make sure you draw it, which I do find very, very interesting, because Arteta going, I don't know, is that him just saying that, or is that him literally thinking that he doesn't know? We'll see come the end of the season. So after all of this, I was thinking about Pep's comments, because usually managers don't really comment on who the favourites are and everything. And considering that Pep has been at the top more or less for the whole of his managerial career, I'm just trying to think, is Pep trying to now play mind games with Jurgen Klopp? And I think that saying Liverpool are the favourites is kind of putting a bit of pressure on him to basically say, well, from here on out, if it's yours to lose, basically. And then if Liverpool don't end up winning the title, people will probably end up saying Liverpool, lost the title. It was theirs to win going into the last couple of months. So putting that bit of pressure on Klopp is an interesting tactic, considering how experienced Jurgen Klopp is at this point in his career. Plus, he's also won a league title. He won the league title during COVID. So yeah, it's interesting. And also, everyone knows that it's Jurgen Klopp's final season at Liverpool. So he will want to win really all the trophies he can. They've already won the League Cup. They are probably the favourites in the Europa League. Obviously, Liverpool were knocked out of the FA Cup by Man United recently, so they can't win that one. However, they are top of the Premier League, so going into the last 2 months, it really is in their hands, because they have, I think it's like 7 or 8 games left. If they win all of those, obviously they're the champions again, and Jurgen Klopp goes out with a minimum of a League Cup and a Premier League title. And then also, if they end up winning the Europa League title, they've won the treble. So yeah, that would be a very good ending for Klopp, obviously. However, Pep might not be trying to get to Jurgen Klopp specifically. This might be aimed at some of the players, and obviously I'm not talking about players like Alisson or Salah or maybe Trent Alexander-Arnold. No, because they're very experienced players and they get kind of how all this works. So it would be more difficult to get towards the older, more experienced players. He might kind of be aiming this pressure, if you want to say that, at the less experienced players, and not necessarily the younger players, but the players who really haven't been in this kind of situation, so they might not necessarily know how to deal with that pressure. And then for Pep to say whoever's first are the favourites and all that, and then say it's not in our hands, also takes a lot more pressure off Man City themselves as well, so they can play a lot kind of more freely, which is when Man City are dangerous because that's when they get creative. And saying it's not in our hands really kind of not gives Man City an excuse, but it makes it look a lot less bad if they don't win the league title, because then it's like, oh, it was out of our hands anyway. So it's not really a surprise that we didn't win. And then he also goes on saying all they can do is think of Aston Villa, which is the right mentality to have, because really, especially when you're in Man City's position and it is really out of your hands, all you can do is just think about the next game and concentrate on winning that, whilst also saying, yeah, whoever's in first, they're now the favourites. And also saying it at this point in the season when they've played like 30 games, some teams 31 games, you're towards the end of the season, and then you can make more of a legitimate case for the team in first place to actually be the favourite. So it's not like he's just saying this, he probably does mean it, but he probably does also know that saying stuff like this might put some pressure on Liverpool, and then obviously if they slip up, Man City and Arsenal are going to be there to capitalise, which is more than likely going to happen at some point in the next couple of months with Liverpool, considering that they've got a very high kind of schedule with the Europa League as well, having that midweek. And then, yeah, so having that schedule will put some more fatigue on Liverpool, and then can Arsenal and Man City take advantage of Liverpool if they do slip up in the next 8 games, because Arsenal and Man City could slip up themselves as well, and then that's more of an advantage to Liverpool. Anyway, so those are my thoughts kind of on Pep's comments about the favourites and everything like that, and also kind of running in, well, kind of leading towards the end of the season, which I do think will be an interesting one. Let me know down in the comments what you think about those two things. If you like the video, leave a like, and if you like this video, consider subscribing to the channel, because I do things like this often as well. And if any other managers make any comments like this, I'll be sure to cover it and give my thoughts on it. So yeah, thank you for listening to the video, and I will see you in the next one.